Hello, witches, magical beings. Welcome back to the channel. So we're going to be doing something a little bit different than our usual tarot spreads. We're going to be doing a deep dive into the initiation phases of witchcraft. So this is kind of like a Witchcraft 101 basics. And we're going to be starting with books. Books are amazing. So just to give you a little background on me, I have been a practicing witch for about 10 years now. And when I first started, there was so much information that I could not get enough. My crown chakra was just blowing up. I was like, oh, how do I get my hands on more of this knowledge? But the first book that I ever read about witchcraft was To Ride a Silver Broomstick by Silver Ravenwolf. I love this book. When I first opened the pages, it was like I was reading something that I was so familiar with, but I haven't tapped into this lifetime. So this book really goes back to basics. It gives you information about altar spaces. It goes down into the elements. It describes your cauldrons, your athames, your wands, everything that a witch needs to really get started. And there is one thing that I want to preface in saying is there's so many paths in witchcraft. Witchcraft is an umbrella. So witchcraft to one witch may be something completely different to somebody else. So it's really important to be curious, but the most important thing is to check in with you, check in with your resonance, and really follow the magic where your intuition leads you, where it guides you. I've met so many people who don't know where to start. And my first thing is I always suggest these two books. So you have more of a feminine energy and you also have a masculine. So the Inner Temple of Witchcraft by Christopher Penczak is all about going into you. It's filled with meditations. It starts with the chakra system, and it dives into the science and the religion aspects of it. And both of these writers have a series of witchcraft books. So this is going to be a multifaceted series on witchcraft, but just from my specific journey, when I opened this book, I just devoured it. And once I started to realize this is something that is in me, it's not something that I necessarily have to, go to school for, or it's a remembering. And I think a lot of people who walk this magic path start to remember who they are. And they remember that they are the magic. And that is one thing that I want to say is that you can have all of the tools, you can have tarot cards, you can have pendulums, you can have cauldrons, whatever, you can have stones. The most magical thing about this path is you. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget your magic, because your magic has a specific resonance that is yours alone. It is your own energy signature. And I think that is what is so beautiful about this path, is that it's so unique to each witch. And that's another thing that I want to say is the word witch actually means wise in Old Latin. And it is not gender specific. A lot of people have a preconceived notion that a witch is specifically female, but it is not. There are many male witches out there, and many who I have met who are amazing. So, not to overwhelm you with so much stuff, but there are so many different paths to witchcraft. There's Alexandrian, there's Gardnerian, there's eclectic, which is what I am. I follow an eclectic path because I find so much resonance in learning about a specific culture or learning about a specific deity, pantheon, whatever. And I've noticed that I don't want to be boxed in. while I'm more gravitated to more Norse traditions and Celtic traditions, that is ancestral for me. I have a lot of Scottish and Irish and also Norse ancestors that I found actually through ancestry.com. So that's a great place to start too if you're really wanting to start with like blood lineage. But even with that, you don't have to connect to your ancestors in that way. There's so many people who are gravitated towards Egyptian mythology, Isis, or Greek, which I'm also gravitated towards Greek in the Hellenistic um, um, like path there. So that is the biggest thing that I want to say, is that your soul will find its resonance. Your soul will find what works for you. And I found over the years that I have dissected so much information. I have gone down rabbit hole after rabbit hole. And the most important thing that I took away from all of it is you can study hardcore, you can have all of the information and the knowledge, but there's something about just sinking into your intuition and your path and going from there. You don't have to overcomplicate it, because I know when I first started, I was just like, there's just so much to do. And actually, when I was first initiated into witchcraft, I had a whole shamanic journey, which was totally unprovoked. My soul went off the script because there was a script being read, and my soul's like, nope, we're gonna go here. So I had a full blown out shamanic journey, because at the time, and still at the time now, I am so connected to animals and animal medicine. And that's another thing about Christopher Penczak's books, is they're all elements. So the inner is fire, and then the outer is earth, and then water is actually emotional, and air is all about the different paths, and it's very intellectual, has the Kabbalah. There's so much information in it. I'm still reading that one to this day. I have to take it in chunk pieces. But these books are so helpful, because they really do answer all of the questions that you have. It goes through levels of consciousness, divine resonance. It goes through symbols. But the elemental, or the shamanic one, which is the water, I'll kind of go through those series and do a deep dive on all of them. I really just wanted to focus on books today, but that one in particular held such a big resonance for me. And it goes through traveling into the underworld, the middle world, the upper world, and it goes through a lot of shamanic and animal medicine and plants medicine that way too. But it also goes through dream walking and journeying and the astral plane. I'm a Pisces, so of course I would resonate with that, right? But there's so many facets and layers to this path. You just kind of have to pick where you're going to start. So when I first read this, I was raised Mormon. My grandfather was a bishop in the Mormon church. I was baptized for the dead. My mother raised me in a Mormon household, which there's nothing wrong with that. But as I grew older, I started to ask more questions, and I started to go off the beaten path, because my soul was like, there's just something that feels disconnected here. So when I saw this book, something kept telling me, just pick it up, just read it. And those are the little nudges that I'm talking about. Your soul will lead you where you need to go. And when I opened that book, it was like to me, it felt like a scene from Harry Potter. I was like, this is real. Like, you can actually study witchcraft and like live this magical life. And to me, I did not feel darkness. I felt seen, I felt heard, I felt a remembrance that I have done this before. I'm getting goosebumps and I'm getting chills. And the more you dive down this path, the deeper your soul becomes. And at this point, I've done a lot of ancestral work. And you can see the levels of disconnect in the family. I had a lot of suppression on my paternal side, and then my mother, my grandmother, they never really allowed themselves to explore the magical facets. And I was kind of the first one in my family to take the leap. My grandmother was she was magical, but she had an alter ego named Agnes, and it was a witch, like it was just, and so there was little facets of that in my family, but nobody claimed it. And there's such a power in this path that you feel when you start to remember those codes, you start to remember the magic. And I've had so many dreams, I've done past life regressions, and I have done a lot of sitting with my soul and who I am. And this path can be lonely. So that's really important too, is to find your groove with it. And a lot of people don't come out of the broom closet until later, or if at all. And that is totally okay. Because oftentimes when you start to traverse down this path, you start to lose people who you resonated with, or you start to, just shift in purpose and career. Your whole life changes. But it's when you put that veil, well, really, when you take the veil off, when you take the glasses off, you cannot go back. And that's something I've had so many experiences that I just cannot ignore. Like, magic is so real, and it is in your daily life. I breathe this, and to me now, it's not so much of the regimented rituals or anything like that. Oftentimes it's just sitting with the moon and sitting with the elements, going out on nature walks. I used to be very elaborate with my rituals. Now yes, I do still believe that stones amplify energy, and your necklaces are talismans and you imbued it with your precious energy. But I don't really seek outside of myself anymore. I've found that just by listening to me and my own magic, my own priestess path now that I'm walking, it will always lead me to where I need to go. And I was somebody who struggled with confidence for a very, very long time. And when I stepped into this, it was almost like a shock to a lot of people, because people associate witchcraft with evil or darkness, which that could be further from the truth. Could it be further from the truth? And it's just like anything. There's light and shadow to everything. There, as we know, there's shadow aspects of Christianity, of Mormonism. It's what you make it. And I never want to disrespect anybody in their path, but know that if you do walk this journey, you will be judged, and you will be looked at in ways that may not feel comfortable. And that forces you to sit with the shadow. It forces you to really get comfortable walking the unknown or lesser known path. And I have a stellium in Aquarius, so I'm like, hey, I came down here to do this, you know, but I will say that once you start walking your path and embodying your truth, you will find like-minded people. I was lucky and I had a few people who were kind of already doing these things. And they gave me a lot of support in what it is that I was doing, because this was totally new territory for me in this lifetime. Again, I was raised Mormon and I was very sheltered, and I was so into Harry Potter though. I loved all things fantasy. Um, you know, I loved Lord of the Rings. Looking back now, I'm like, this just makes sense, you know. But it's really about what you make it. And there are, you know, there's black witches, there's gray witches, there's white witches. You can do protection magic, you can do baneful magic, but it really is about you. And for me, if I'm going to do anything that may be considered gray, it's going to be protection magic, because I know that source, spirit, my guides, goddesses, gods, whoever, whatever I pray to, they are going to deliver karmic justice more than I can ever do. They see all. They see the bigger picture of what my soul needs and the destiny that I need to walk. So why am I going to extend that energy out to curse somebody or hurt somebody? That goes against every principle that I believe in. I am a massage therapist, I'm an esthetician, I'm a healer, I'm a Reiki master, I do tarot. These are all facets of me that I want other people to feel. But unfortunately, life hands you lessons that you have to grow and to become stronger in. And a lot of the times it is about listening to your intuition and trusting your intuition. So that's really what I wanted to preface this on. Is I'm gonna do a series because witchcraft is such a broad subject. There's no way I could fit everything into one video, but I really wanted to start at the very beginning of my path and my journey. And it all started with a book. It started with actually listening to my intuition to read a book. And these books will lead you down other rabbit holes. They will lead you towards animal medicine. They'll lead you towards Reiki and magic. And you'll talk to a lot of other witches and a lot of other people on the path. And I think that's the beauty of it, is everybody is working with their own guides. And this path can be so loving and encompassing, because a lot of the times people who walk this path are people who are misunderstood or misjudged, or have a longing to connect with others on a much deeper level. We believe that there's something bigger than us at play, and fueling the power back into you is the most important thing. Do not get wrapped up in putting so much power on, you know, reaching for these deities, or reaching for, you have to do this ritual at a certain time or you're going to get smoked. You know, we're not praying to the patriarchal God. We are human beings and we are needing to be met with grace. And that is exactly what this path has given me. Now, this may not resonate for everybody, and that's totally fine, but I did want to open up this journey of magic with you, and, you know, really starting from basics. And I think a lot of people have a similar journey to mine, in the fact that they were raised in a religious household, you know, and they were very suppressed. depressed and had the courage to break the cycles, break the tradition, and to find their own soul's resonance. And that's really what I wanted to start this series as, is you are the magic. Don't ever forget that. Do not ever give your power to something that is outside of you. Because at the end of the day, I firmly believe that we are praying to the same source. We just call it different names. And I think that gives me a level of understanding and a level of reverence for others who may not be walking my same path. Because if people think that they have the one truth, they don't. That is not living in a multi-dimensional universe. And if somebody tries to combat you, tries to fight you against whatever it is that you are, luckily I haven't had that. I haven't had anybody who wants to fight me for what I believe in, but I have had healthy discussions and healthy conversations with people who I have many Christian friends, and my family still to this day is very Mormon or believes in God. And I don't have any less love for them, and I will say that the judgment piece is hard to deal with, especially when you feel misunderstood. But if it is your soul's highest purpose and you are feeling fulfilled and uplifted from this path, then it's not wrong. And again, the loneliness is something that just comes with the territory, but that allows you to sink deeper. And there's so many people who are looking for paths and who are looking for community. And that's what I'm trying to build through this channel, through these videos, through communicating with others, is to know that you're not alone in this journey, walking this magical path, because there's so many people who are doing the same. We just have been taught to hide it. But I'm not hiding it. I haven't been hiding it for many, many years. And now I'm finally ready to get on a platform and to connect with others like yourself. But I hope this video helped. I can't wait to continue the series, and please do yourself a favor, read these 2 books because they are absolutely amazing. And they give you a lot of insights, and they will give you enough information, especially when you're first starting, to start your Book of Shadows or your grimoire. That was another thing. I'll talk about that on the next video probably, is get yourself a little journal. It can be very indiscreet. It doesn't have to be black or red or have any witchy stuff on it if you don't want to. But mine has a Valkyrie on it, and she's got, it's gold foil. Like, you make this path as magical as you want. And that's the beauty of it. But I hope this helped you guys, and I will see you on the next video. Blessed be. Bye. Mwah.